Close your eyes for a moment. No, actually don't. Keep them wide open because what you're about to hear you've been living, breathing, and perhaps even unknowingly absorbing every single day. Feel that relentless torrent of information washing over you hour after hour. It's not just noise, it's a meticulously crafted symphony of influence. Picture this: a politician caught in a carefully edited soundbite, delivering a perfectly phrased, emotionally charged slogan designed not for logical debate but for immediate, visceral impact. Stronger together, they declare, or perhaps, "Make X great again." Phrases repeated ad nauseum, stripped of nuance, yet somehow burrowing deep into the collective consciousness, shaping opinions, swaying votes, and dividing nations. You hear it on the news, scroll past it on social media, see it plastered on billboards. It's a relentless echo chamber, not of truth, but of carefully constructed narrative, often repeated until it simply feels true. Now, shift your gaze to the digital landscape. A bizarre, yet irresistibly catchy jingle for a new snack food suddenly dominates your feed, accompanied by quirky dance moves performed by strangers. It's everywhere. You hum it in the shower, find yourself thinking about that snack, even though you've never seen it in real life. That's viral marketing, a masterclass in psychological contagion, engineered to bypass rational thought and implant desire directly into your subconscious. You're not being asked to consider a product, you're being swept up in a cultural phenomenon, a wave of manufactured enthusiasm that feels organic but is anything but. You're compelled, not convinced. And then there are the faces, the influencers. They're not just selling products, they're selling a lifestyle, an identity, a version of you that's happier, prettier, more successful. With a disarmingly casual smile, they pitch everything from detox teas to cryptocurrencies, their curated perfection a silent, potent promise. Swipe up to buy what changed my life. They whisper or shout. It feels like a recommendation from a friend, someone you trust, someone who gets you. But behind the filtered glow and the carefully scripted authenticity, there's a commerce engine humming, converting your trust into transactions, your aspirations into purchases. Are these genuine recommendations, or are you just another target in their meticulously optimized sales funnel? These aren't isolated incidents. They are the threads in a vast, invisible web of persuasion that permeates our media, our politics, our advertising, our very social fabric. It's a constant, sophisticated barrage. Have you ever scrolled past an ad, dismissed a political statement, or listened to an influencer's pitch, only to find yourself later agreeing to something, buying something, or even changing your opinion on a crucial matter, and then, at a quiet moment, wondered why, felt that faint, unsettling nudge, that almost imperceptible shift in your perspective that wasn't entirely your own doing? You, my friend, might have been a victim of rhetoric, the ancient, dark art of persuasion, now supercharged, refined, and weaponized for the digital age, often without you ever realizing it. You've been moved, influenced, perhaps even controlled, without a single overt command. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? That your most deeply held beliefs, your daily decisions, your very sense of self, could be shaped by forces you barely perceive. But what if there was a way to see through the smoke and mirrors, to dismantle the illusions, to reclaim your own mind from this constant siege? What if, over 2 millennia ago, someone had already cracked the code on how these invisible forces work, how they manipulate, how they charm, and more importantly, how to defend against them? That someone was the philosopher Plato, and that book, written around 380 BCE, is his groundbreaking dialogue Gorgias. For 2,400 years, Gorgias has stood as a monumental testament, a timeless investigation into the very mechanics of persuasion, its ethical boundaries, and its profound impact on individuals and society. It reveals the secrets of the rhetoricians, those masters of language who could bend minds to their will, much like today's advertisers and political strategists. Join us as we journey into this ancient masterpiece, not as an academic exercise, but as an urgent, practical guide for the 21st century. We promise to peel back the layers, to expose the hidden hooks in every ad, every speech, every social media post, every viral trend. By understanding the profound, timeless wisdom contained within Plato's Gorgias, you will not only learn to spot manipulation in real time, to critically dissect persuasive attempts, and to understand how you're being influenced, but you'll also discover how to reclaim your own intellectual autonomy, live a more authentic life guided by reason, and become truly free from the unseen chains of persuasion that bind so many in our modern world. This is your guide to intellectual self-defense. This is Gorgias. Welcome. Take a moment and reflect on the last time you were truly swayed by an argument. Not just by facts, but by the sheer force of someone's personality, their confidence, their compelling way with words. Or, conversely, when you desperately tried to sway someone to win them over, to make them see your point. In our hyper-connected world, saturated with information, misinformation, and an incessant stream of opinions, the ability to persuade, to influence, feels like the ultimate, modern-day superpower. Honestly, for a significant part of my life, I believed it was. I genuinely thought mastering the art of persuasion was the key to success, to influence, to shaping the world around me. I saw it as the ultimate tool for navigating complex situations, for leadership, for winning any debate. That belief, however, profoundly shifted when I encountered an extraordinary book, an ancient Greek dialogue penned over 2 millennia ago, that utterly redefined my understanding of power and purpose. Plato's Gorgias taught me, with crystal clarity, that true, enduring power doesn't reside in winning an argument at any cost, but rather in the relentless, often uncomfortable, pursuit of unvarnished truth, not victory. You see, truth. Forget any notions of a dusty, obscure academic text. We are not embarking on a dry dissection. No, Plato's Gorgias is an electrifying, high-stakes, and shockingly modern debate, a visceral clash of formidable intellectual titans that feels ripped straight from our most urgent contemporary headlines. Imagine a fiercely contested, prime-time news panel, but one where the philosophical stakes are about the very essence of human nature, ethics, and the good life stakes that resonate profoundly down through millennia. At the pulsating heart of this intellectual arena stands Gorgias himself, the celebrity communication coach and rhetorical wizard of his era, a truly magnetic master whose eloquence could charm an entire assembly into believing almost anything. He is, simply put, the original spin doctor, the quintessential persuasive guru everyone, from aspiring politicians to ambitious merchants, yearned to learn from. He offered his eager students the promise of unassailable power, the ability to dominate any public assembly, to sway any jury, to effortlessly control the narrative. Then we meet Polus, his ambitious, eager, and somewhat aggressively zealous disciple. He's the hot-headed apprentice who has assiduously learned all the master's potent tricks, now ready to deploy them with youthful fervor and untempered confidence. He embodies the raw, untamed ambition of someone convinced that rhetorical might unequivocally makes right, that persuasive power is its own justification, irrespective of morality. And finally, perhaps the most unsettlingly relevant character for our tumultuous times, Callicles, the quintessential ruthless pragmatist, a man whose worldview is distilled to its most brutal essence. He argues that the natural order dictates the strong ought to dominate the weak, and that conventional morality, those quaint notions of justice and fairness, are merely clever tools invented by the weak to control the powerful. For Callicles, rhetoric is not a means to truth, but rather a potent weapon to assert raw power, to serve unbridled self-interest, completely unconcerned with ethics or justice. Pitted against these formidable, archetypal figures is Socrates, the indefatigable philosophical detective. He harbors no interest in merely winning a debate in the conventional sense. Instead, he employs his famously sharp, meticulously logical, and utterly relentless questioning, his legendary Socratic method, to peel back layers of assumption, to expose deeply held contradictions, and to gently, yet with unshakable resolve, guide his interlocutors and all of us towards a more profound understanding of what truly matters. He's relentlessly searching for the essence of justice, the true nature of a well-lived life, and the authentic ethical purpose of human communication. So, the crucial question begs to be asked: why does this 2,400-year-old conversation from ancient Athens resonate so powerfully, so urgently now? Because in our current age, where inscrutable algorithms curate our reality, where charismatic influencers shape collective opinions, and where the line between verifiable fact and seductive fiction blurs daily, understanding the very nature of persuasion, its ethics, and its true purpose is not just an academic exercise. It is, quite simply, an indispensable survival skill for navigating modern life with integrity and clarity. Over this video series, we are going to embark on an exhilarating journey, diving deep into the heart of this electrifying, timeless dialogue. We will meticulously unpack the arguments put forth by Gorgias, Polus, and Callicles, and we will witness how Socrates fearlessly challenges their fundamental premises. Our ultimate goal isn't merely to comprehend ancient philosophy. It's far more ambitious. It is to draw out these profound, enduring insights and apply them directly, practically, and meaningfully to our own contemporary lives. How can we, with greater discernment, spot and resist manipulative rhetoric that inundates our social media feeds? How can we cultivate more effective, yet ethically sound communication strategies in our professional careers? How do we forge stronger, more truthful, and more authentic relationships in our personal lives? And, most crucially, how do we distinguish between genuine, virtuous leadership and mere fleeting populism? This immersive journey through Plato's Gorgias will equip you with an invaluable critical lens, not just for thoughtfully consuming information, but for actively shaping a more reflective, more truthful, and ultimately, a more just world around you. Welcome to Chapter 1, the superpower everyone wants and fears. Imagine possessing an extraordinary ability, a kind of magic that allows you to sway minds, change hearts, and compel action with nothing but your voice. It's the power of persuasion, an ancient art and one that has captivated humanity for millennia. But like all great powers, it comes with a profound shadow, a terrifying potential for misuse. This is the very essence of what Plato explores in his profound dialogue Gorgias. Our journey begins in ancient Athens, a city buzzing with intellectual ferment and the clash of ideas. Here Socrates, the relentless questioner, encounters Gorgias, a celebrated rhetorician visiting from Leontini. Gorgias is a rock star of his time, famous for his eloquent speeches and his ability to convince anyone of anything. People flock to hear him, eager to learn his secrets, to wield the power he so effortlessly commands. Socrates, ever the seeker of truth, is immediately curious. He wants to understand the true nature of Gorgias's art. "What is your profession, Gorgias?" he asks. "What exactly do you teach?" Gorgias, with characteristic confidence, declares himself a master of rhetoric, an art, he proclaims, that deals with words. But Socrates pushes deeper. Many arts deal with words, medicine, mathematics, law, but they also deal with specific subjects. What is the subject matter of rhetoric? Gorgias, perhaps a little impatiently, clarifies that rhetoric's subject is the greatest and most important human affairs. Its product, he explains, is the ability to persuade with words, whether in courts of law or in the council or in any other assembly. Here we hit the core question: is rhetoric a true skill, an art, a techon based on knowledge and principles, or is it merely a form of flattery, a knack for manipulation, a trick to achieve belief without understanding? To illustrate rhetoric's immense power, Gorgias offers a truly chilling example, one that reveals the dangerous heart of persuasion without knowledge. He boasts that if a doctor and a rhetorician were to compete for the trust of a patient, it would be the rhetorician, not the doctor, who could persuade the patient to take their medicine or undergo surgery. The rhetorician, Gorgias argues, doesn't need to be a doctor. They don't need medical knowledge or an understanding of anatomy. They only need the skill to convince. Think about that for a moment. This isn't about teaching the patient why the medicine works or explaining the biological necessity of an operation. It's simply about getting them to believe they should do it. It's about creating an assent, a conviction, often based on emotional appeal, charisma, or clever argumentation, rather than on a solid foundation of factual understanding or reasoned judgment. This ancient boast from Gorgias resonates eerily in our modern world, where we are constantly bombarded by voices skilled in persuasion, but often devoid of genuine substance. Consider the modern spin doctors in politics, whose primary goal is not to present unvarnished facts or well-reasoned policies, but to craft narratives, manage perceptions, and appeal to emotions to secure votes or shift public opinion. They are masters of rhetoric, able to make the complex seem simple, the unpalatable seem desirable, all without necessarily possessing deep expertise in policy or governance. Then there are the marketing gurus and advertising executives, who excel at creating desire for products and lifestyles, often through evocative imagery and persuasive language, rather than focusing solely on the product's intrinsic quality or true necessity. They sell a dream, an aspiration, a feeling, skillfully bypassing rational assessment. And what about the so-called empty influencers on social media? They amass vast followings, commanding attention and trust, seemingly able to sell anything, from beauty products to investment advice, primarily through their charisma and curated image, rather than through verified expertise or profound understanding. Their power lies in their ability to convince, to generate belief, often without imparting any true knowledge. These modern figures, much like Gorgias, demonstrate a powerful ability to sway minds, to compel action, to shape opinions, but often operate in a realm where persuasion triumphs over genuine knowledge. They are incredibly convincing, yet the substance behind their words can sometimes be thin or even dangerously misleading. This brings us to the central dilemma that Plato, through Socrates, forces us to confront. Is this ability to persuade without knowledge a valuable tool, or is it a dangerous weapon? Is it the mark of a skilled communicator capable of inspiring change and rallying people to noble causes? Or is it a morally neutral, even ethically suspect, instrument that can be wielded by anyone for any purpose, regardless of truth or justice? When we allow persuasive power to trump genuine expertise, what are the consequences for individuals, for societies, and for the pursuit of truth itself? This first encounter between Socrates and Gorgias sets the stage for a profound philosophical battle, one that challenges us to scrutinize the allure of persuasion and to question the very foundations of what we choose to believe. Welcome back to our journey through Plato's Gorgias. We've explored the seductive power of rhetoric, and now we move from the master rhetorician himself to his passionate and somewhat impetuous student, Polus. Our second chapter delves into what I call the tough guy fallacy, a question that still resonates deeply in our world today. Is it truly better to be powerful than good? Polus bursts onto the scene, full of youthful zeal and a firm belief in the conventional wisdom of his time. He's heard Socrates' rather peculiar arguments about suffering injustice being preferable to committing it, and he finds them utterly preposterous. Polus looks at the world around him and draws a starkly different conclusion. His argument, boiled down, is simple and compelling. Look at tyrants. Look at those who wield absolute power, who can do whatever they please without consequence. They amass wealth, they indulge in every pleasure, they rule over others. Who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't desire the kind of absolute freedom and apparent happiness enjoyed by a dictator or a powerful criminal who always gets away with it? For Polus, power is happiness, and the ability to commit injustice with impunity is the ultimate expression of that power. To suffer injustice, in his view, is the mark of a weakling, a loser. The ideal life is one where you inflict wrong and never have to pay the price. This is where Socrates delivers one of his most genuinely shocking and counterintuitive arguments in the entire dialogue. To Polus's celebration of the unpunished tyrant, Socrates offers a radical counterpunch. He asserts that the wicked person is always miserable. But then he goes further, adding a twist that often makes even modern listeners pause and reevaluate. The unpunished wicked person, Socrates declares, is the most miserable of all. Think about that for a moment. It flies in the face of so much of what we instinctively believe. We tend to equate getting away with something bad, avoiding jail, or never being exposed with success or even a perverse form of cleverness. But Socrates argues precisely the opposite. For him, committing injustice intrinsically damages the soul, corrupts the inner self. It's like a disease that afflicts your very being. When you do wrong, you aren't just harming others, you are, first and foremost, harming yourself. Let's connect this to our modern world. We frequently see headlines about corrupt politicians, unscrupulous business leaders, or powerful individuals who exploit systems, commit crimes, and somehow manage to evade justice. They seem to walk free, their reputations perhaps tarnished, but their power and wealth often intact. From an external perspective, they have won. They have achieved Polus's ideal, committing injustice and getting away with it. But are they truly happy? Are they genuinely content? Or, as Socrates would suggest, Are they perhaps the most tormented among us, whether they admit it or not? Imagine the weight of a secret, the constant paranoia of being discovered, the gnawing emptiness that often accompanies a life built on deceit and exploitation. The person who continually bends the rules, lies, and harms others to get ahead might achieve material success, but what happens to their inner landscape? Socrates suggests that their soul becomes diseased, fractured, and out of harmony. This inner torment, he implies, is a far greater misery than any external punishment could inflict. The luxury they enjoy becomes a gilded cage, trapping a corrupted spirit. This leads us to the crux of Socrates' argument, the idea that facing consequences, undergoing punishment for wrongdoing, is not a curse, but a cure. It's a bitter medicine for the soul. Just as a physical illness requires a doctor to excise a tumor or administer unpleasant treatment, the illness of injustice within the soul requires a form of rectification. Punishment, in this Socratic view, isn't about revenge or retribution in the conventional sense. It's about healing. It's about restoring the balance of the soul, purging the injustice, and preventing the spiritual rot from spreading further. When an unjust person is punished, they are given an opportunity, however painful, to acknowledge their wrongdoing, to perhaps seek redemption, and to begin the arduous process of mending their fractured soul. Without that opportunity for correction, without the external forces of justice intervening, the disease of injustice is allowed to fester, unchecked and unacknowledged, growing ever more severe. The unpunished wicked person, therefore, is truly the most miserable because they are denied the very thing that could potentially save them from complete spiritual ruin, the medicine of justice. So, for Socrates, true power doesn't lie in the ability to do whatever you want without consequence. Rather, it lies in the ability to live justly, to maintain the health and harmony of your soul, and to welcome correction when you stumble. This radical redefinition of power and happiness challenges us to look beyond superficial appearances and consider the deeper, internal consequences of our actions. It forces us to ask, what kind of life are we truly striving for? A life of unchecked external power, or a life of internal integrity and spiritual well-being, even if it means facing difficult truths? Welcome back to our journey through Plato's Gorgias. We've wrestled with the nature of rhetoric and its potential for good and ill, and we've seen how Socrates challenges the comfortable assumptions of his interlocutors. But now, we arrive at the dialogue's most formidable antagonist, a figure whose arguments resonate with a chilling familiarity even today, Callicles. Callicles bursts onto the scene, fed up with what he perceives as Socrates' manipulative questioning and Polis's weak concessions. He is no mild-mannered rhetorician. He is a man of action, conviction, and unapologetic power. Callicles declares with audacious confidence that Socrates has it all wrong. Conventional morality, with its talk of justice, self-restraint, and fairness, is nothing but a grand deception, a clever trick played by the weak majority to shackle the naturally superior individual. For Callicles, the true law, the law of nature itself, is might is right, just as in the animal kingdom, where the stronger predator rightfully devours the weaker prey, so too in human society, the strong, the intelligent, the naturally superior individual should rise above the herd and take whatever they desire. Their natural right is to dominate, to accumulate, and to satisfy every single one of their appetites without restraint or guilt. Morality, for Callicles, is a cage built by the many to restrain the few, a resentful invention designed to hold back those who are born to lead, to conquer, to luxuriate in their own power. He scoffs at the very idea of self-control, equating it to weakness, a denial of one's true, powerful nature. A truly free and powerful man, he insists, lives a life of limitless desire, constantly expanding his wants and ceaselessly striving to fulfill them. Socrates, characteristically, does not meet Callicles' fiery pronouncements with an equally fiery counter-argument. Instead, he invites Callicles into a deeper, more reflective examination of what such a life truly entails. He presents a series of analogies, culminating in one of the most memorable and profound images in all of Plato, the leaky jar. Imagine, Socrates asks, two individuals. One has jars that are whole and sound, easily filled and able to hold their contents. The other has jars that are riddled with holes, constantly leaking, requiring an endless, exhausting effort to keep them full. Which of these lives, Socrates probes, is truly desirable? The man whose desires are boundless, who must constantly seek new pleasures and new acquisitions to fill his insatiable appetites, is like the man with the leaky jar. No matter how much he pours in, his desires immediately drain away, leaving him in a perpetual state of need and dissatisfaction. It is a life of ceaseless toil, a frantic scramble to plug ever-appearing holes, a relentless chase that never truly brings contentment. This pursuit of endless pleasure, Socrates reveals, is not freedom but a form of slavery to one's own appetites, to a restless internal tyrant that demands constant feeding. The truly free person, by contrast, is not one who has no desires, but one who has mastered them, whose jars are sound, allowing for a state of inner tranquility and genuine fulfillment. Now, let's step outside ancient Athens for a moment and consider how Callicles' philosophy, stripped of its direct historical context, echoes powerfully in our modern world. His celebration of unrestrained ambition, his contempt for conventional limits, and his emphasis on individual gratification find striking parallels in contemporary phenomena. Think of hustle culture, where the relentless pursuit of wealth, status, and achievement is glorified, often at the expense of well-being, relationships, and ethical considerations. The mantra, "Sleep when you're dead," encapsulates a Calliclean drive to constantly push beyond limits, viewing rest or moderation as weakness. Consider hyper-consumerism, where advertising constantly inflames new desires, convincing us that happiness lies just beyond the next purchase, the latest gadget, the newest trend. We are encouraged to fill our metaphorical leaky jars with endless material possessions, only to find that the holes remain, demanding more. And what about the greed is good mindset, prevalent in certain financial and corporate sectors, where the accumulation of vast wealth and power, often through aggressive and ethically dubious means, is not only tolerated but celebrated as a mark of success and superior ability? In these modern manifestations, we see the ghost of Callicles, whispering that true power lies in taking, in desiring more, and in rejecting any moral framework that might impede our individual ascent. This brings us to the core challenge posed by Callicles' philosophy, a challenge that Socrates expertly forces us to confront. Is a life without limits, a life devoted to the unbridled satisfaction of every desire, truly a life of freedom? Or is it, as Socrates suggests through the potent image of the leaky jar, a far more insidious form of slavery to one's own appetites, to an ever-expanding maw of desire that can never be truly sated? Is true freedom found in the ability to do whatever we want, whenever we want, regardless of consequences or moral compass? Or is it perhaps found in the mastery of those desires, in the cultivation of self-control, and in the wisdom to discern between fleeting gratification and lasting well-being? Callicles argues that to restrain oneself is to be weak, to be controlled by the herd. But Socrates flips the script, suggesting that the truly weak person is the one utterly controlled by their own internal impulses, constantly chasing an elusive satisfaction. The choice, then, is laid bare before us. Do we embrace the path of the insatiable Calliclean individual, forever pouring into a leaky jar, driven by external validations and internal cravings? Or do we strive for the Socratic ideal of inner mastery, where our desires are tempered by reason, leading to a life of genuine autonomy and sustainable fulfillment? The Gorgias doesn't just present these ideas as ancient philosophy, it presents them as a profound, enduring question about the very nature of human flourishing, a question that remains profoundly relevant to how we choose to live our lives today. Welcome back. In our last chapter, we grappled with the provocative assertions of Callicles, who boldly declared that might makes right and that a life of unbridled pleasure is the only path to true happiness. But Socrates, ever the relentless interrogator, pushes back. He forces us to confront a fundamental question, one that resonates deeply even today. Is what feels good truly the same as what is good for you? This isn't just an abstract philosophical puzzle. It's the hinge upon which our entire understanding of a well-lived life turns. Do we pursue immediate gratification, or do we strive for something deeper, something more enduring? Callicles argues for the former. Indulge every desire, swell your appetites, let nothing restrain you. But Socrates sees a dangerous trap in this philosophy, a pathway not to freedom, but to enslavement. To illuminate this critical distinction, Socrates employs a wonderfully simple, yet profoundly insightful analogy: the difference between a chef and a doctor. Imagine a bustling marketplace. On one side you have the chef. What does the chef offer? Delicious, mouth-watering food, rich desserts, savory stews, anything designed to tantalize your taste buds and provide immediate, intense pleasure. The chef is a master of flavor, an artist of sensation. Their aim is to make you feel good in the moment. Their craft, in this specific sense, is a form of flattery. It caters directly to your desires, telling them what they want to hear, or rather taste. It doesn't necessarily consider your long-term health. A chef might make you a delectable dish brimming with sugar and unhealthy fats. It tastes fantastic, it feels good, but is it good for you? Now, on the other side of the marketplace stands the doctor. What does the doctor offer? Perhaps a bitter medicine, a painful examination, a restrictive diet, or a recommendation for rigorous exercise. These things in the moment do not necessarily feel good. In fact, they might feel quite unpleasant, even painful. But the doctor's aim is not immediate pleasure. It is your health, your well-being, your long-term good. The doctor is practicing a true craft, or tekon in Greek, one that requires knowledge, skill, and an understanding of the body's true needs, not just its immediate cravings. The doctor often has to tell you things you don't want to hear, or prescribe actions you don't want to take, because they are genuinely good for you. Socrates uses this distinction to argue that many things in life are like the chef's craft. They flatter our desires, they promise immediate satisfaction, but they lack true knowledge of what constitutes genuine well-being. Think of a politician who promises easy solutions and immediate benefits rather than hard truths and long-term, perhaps painful reforms. That's a form of flattery, just like the chefs. But a true statesman, like the doctor, aims for the health of the body politic, even if it means unpopular decisions. This analogy isn't confined to ancient Athens. It plays out in our lives every single day in countless micro-decisions. Consider the fleeting pleasure of junk food. That sugary drink, that greasy burger, that packet of crisps, they offer an instant hit, a delightful rush of taste and dopamine. It feels good. But the long-term good of exercise, of preparing a wholesome meal, often involves effort, discipline, and temporary discomfort. The morning run isn't always enjoyable in the moment, but the vitality, the improved health, the mental clarity it brings are undeniable goods. Or think about our digital lives. The mindless scrolling through social media feeds, the endless consumption of bite-sized entertainment, these provide a continuous stream of low-effort, immediate gratification. It feels good to be constantly stimulated, to avoid boredom. But what about the deeper, more profound good of engaging with a challenging book, learning a new skill, or having a meaningful, focused conversation? These activities often demand concentration, patience, and effort. They might not offer the same instant dopamine hit, but they cultivate wisdom, expand our minds, and foster genuine connection, things that are unequivocally good for us in the long run. In each of these scenarios, we face a choice: the path of the chef, offering immediate, often superficial pleasure, or the path of the doctor, offering discomfort and discipline now for a greater, more profound good later. So, if the unbridled pursuit of pleasure leads to a chaotic, undisciplined life, what's the alternative? Socrates proposes the ideal of a healthy, ordered soul as the foundation for a truly happy and fulfilling life. For Socrates, the soul isn't just some ethereal concept, it's the seat of our character, our reason, our desires, and our will. And just like a body needs order and balance to be healthy, so too does the soul. What does this order entail? It means reason must govern our appetites and desires, not the other way around. Callicles advocates for a life where desires run wild, constantly needing to be filled, like a leaky jar that can never be truly full. Socrates argues that such a life is a miserable one, a perpetual state of craving and dissatisfaction. True freedom, he suggests, comes not from indulging every whim, but from mastering them. This mastery is what Socrates calls self-control or sophrosine. It's the ability to moderate our desires, to distinguish between beneficial pleasures and harmful ones, and to choose wisely. It's the inner discipline that allows us to pursue what is genuinely good, even when it means foregoing immediate pleasure. And this self-control, in turn, is guided by wisdom, the knowledge of what truly contributes to human flourishing. A soul characterized by order, self-control, and wisdom is a soul in harmony. It's a soul that is healthy, balanced, and capable of experiencing eudaimonia, that deep sense of well-being, flourishing, and living well, which is far more profound and enduring than mere fleeting pleasure. This isn't about asceticism, denying all pleasure. It's about proportion, balance, and the intelligent governance of our inner landscape. It's about understanding that the good life isn't about how much we feel good, but how truly good we become. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us as we delve deeper into the profound challenges Plato's Gorgias presents. We've spent considerable time dissecting the nature of rhetoric, understanding its allure and its pitfalls when divorced from truth. We've seen how it can dazzle, persuade and manipulate, but often at the cost of genuine improvement. Now, in Chapter 5, we arrive at the heart of Socrates' profound counter-proposal, an alternative so radical, yet so simple, that it demands we evaluate our entire approach to living. This is the real art: crafting your own soul. Socrates, throughout his dialogues, consistently pivots from grand pronouncements about politics and power to the intensely personal. For him, the most important arena for justice isn't the public square, but the intricate landscape of your own character. He presents us with a stark contrast. On one side, there's the flattery of rhetoric. This is the art of telling people what they want to hear, of appealing to their immediate desires, of creating a pleasant but potentially unhealthy experience, much like a talented chef who whips up delicious, yet nutritionally void, confections. Their aim is pleasure, immediate gratification, popularity, whatever tastes good in the moment. On the other side, Socrates offers the true art of justice. This is not about winning arguments or swaying crowds. It's about the painstaking, often challenging, work of caring for the state of one's soul. If rhetoric is the chef, then justice is the doctor. A doctor doesn't always tell you what you want to hear. They might prescribe bitter medicine, recommend difficult lifestyle changes, or even perform painful surgery, all for the sake of your genuine well-being. Their aim is not to please, but to heal, to improve, to bring about a state of true health. This is the art of living justly, making yourself and, by extension, those around you, genuinely better. It focuses on character development, on internal integrity, rather than fleeting public perception or transient popularity. Socrates champions self-improvement as the most important craft you could ever learn. Think about it. We admire skilled artisans: the carpenter who meticulously shapes wood, the musician who dedicates years to mastering their instrument, the engineer who designs complex systems. Yet, how much dedicated effort do we truly invest in the most complex and significant project of all, ourselves? For Socrates, perfecting your soul, cultivating virtues like courage, temperance, and wisdom, is not merely a noble pursuit. It is the fundamental prerequisite for a good life, a just society, and authentic happiness. It is the bedrock upon which all other meaningful achievements must rest. This brings us to a crucial question for your own life, a moment of introspection that Socrates would undoubtedly encourage. In your daily interactions, in your decisions, in your relationships, and even in your private thoughts, are you acting more like a chef, aiming primarily for pleasure, popularity, and ease? Or are you acting more like a doctor, aiming for genuine, lasting well-being, even if it means confronting uncomfortable truths, having difficult conversations, or making choices that aren't immediately gratifying, but are ultimately good for your soul and the souls of those you impact? Are you telling yourself and others what you want to hear or what you need to hear? Are you seeking superficial agreement or profound improvement? This distinction extends beyond our personal choices into every sphere. In leadership, is the goal to pacify and please the electorate, or to guide them towards what is truly best, even if unpopular? In education, is it to make learning easy and entertaining, or to challenge students to grapple with difficult ideas for the sake of intellectual growth? In personal relationships, is it to avoid conflict at all costs, or to foster honest communication and mutual growth, even when it's tough? The chef prioritizes comfort and immediate satisfaction. The doctor prioritizes health and long-term flourishing. Ultimately, Socrates impresses upon us a profound truth: your character is the only thing you truly have control over. You cannot control the whims of fortune, the opinions of others, the political climate, or the vast majority of external circumstances. But you can control how you respond to them. You can control the choices you make, the values you uphold, the integrity with which you live your life. This internal landscape, your soul, is your most important project, your life's masterwork. It is a continuous, lifelong endeavor requiring constant self-examination, ethical reflection, and a steadfast commitment to virtue. It is the ultimate craft, and its raw material is nothing less than who you choose to be. By embracing this Socratic path, we shift our focus from the external trappings of success, power, wealth, fame to the internal richness of a well-ordered soul. This is not an easy path. It often involves swimming against the current of societal expectations and the siren calls of immediate gratification. But for Socrates, it is the only path to a truly fulfilling and meaningful existence. It is the art of crafting a soul that is resilient, virtuous, and truly free. We've journeyed through the intricate arguments of Plato's Gorgias, exploring the profound questions of power, rhetoric, and the true nature of justice. As our exploration draws to a close, Socrates offers us not another complex philosophical debate, but a story designed not to prove, but to illuminate and inspire. It's a vivid narrative that distills all his preceding arguments into an unforgettable image of what truly matters, a powerful metaphor for accountability and living a life of integrity. Imagine, Socrates urges, that after death, souls arrive before the judges of the underworld Minos, Rhadamanthys, and Aeacus. But there's a crucial difference in this celestial courtroom. The judges are naked, stripped bare of all external adornments, and so too are the souls standing before them. Gone are the robes of status, the glitter of wealth, the shields of reputation, the carefully constructed facades we present to the world. No eloquent lawyers or persuasive rhetoricians can intercede here. No earthly power can sway the scales. All that remains is the soul itself, utterly exposed. The judges look not at external achievements or earthly titles, but directly into the very essence of the soul. They examine its health, its condition, its history. Is it scarred, twisted, and misshapen by acts of injustice, cruelty, and deceit? Is it riddled with the marks of tyranny, self-indulgence, and a callous disregard for others? Or is it healthy, straight, and sound, reflecting a life lived with justice, integrity, and moderation, brimming with virtues cultivated through genuine care? The unjust soul, bearing the indelible wounds of its choices, is sent to Tartarus for punishment and purification, a consequence of its self-inflicted corruption. The just soul, radiant in its health, is granted passage to the blessed serenity of the Isles of the Blessed. This isn't presented as a literal religious doctrine, a belief system to be adopted without question. Instead, Socrates offers it as a profound, enduring metaphor. He isn't asking us to literally believe in Minos or the geography of Tartarus. Rather, he's challenging us to live our lives as if this ultimate judgment is real, as if our character, the true state of our innermost being, is the only thing that will ultimately be assessed. It's a radical call to profound self-reflection, urging us to prioritize the internal landscape of our being over any external display or superficial achievement. Every choice we make, every action we take, every word we speak, leaves an indelible mark on our soul. It either contributes to its health and beauty, or it etches another scar of corruption and injustice, deepening its disfigurement. In a modern world often obsessed with outward appearances, digital footprints, and the meticulously curated projection of self, Socrates' myth offers a vital reorientation. What kind of legacy are you truly building? It's not just the accolades on your resume, the zeros in your bank account, or the fleeting likes on your social media posts. The deeper question is, what is the enduring story of your soul? When all the superficial layers are stripped away, what narrative will your inner self tell? Will it be one of integrity, courage, and genuine contribution to the common good, or one marred by expediency, self-serving ambition, and a relentless thirst for power for its own sake? Your true legacy isn't merely what you leave behind in the world, it's the condition of the soul you carry forward, the character you embody. This, then, is the ultimate, resounding message that reverberates through Gorgias. The health of your soul, your integrity, your unwavering commitment to justice, is the most valuable thing in the world. It is a treasure far beyond any material wealth, any political power, or any fleeting fame. For everything else is temporary, fleeting, and ultimately unable to accompany you beyond this life. Only the state of your soul, meticulously forged through the choices you make and the principles you uphold, will endure. It is the one possession that truly belongs to you, and it is the one that truly defines you in the most fundamental sense. Therefore, let us strive relentlessly to cultivate a soul that is healthy, radiant, and true, for in doing so, we not only secure our own profound inner peace, but also contribute meaningfully to a more just, virtuous, and authentic world, creating a legacy that genuinely transcends time and all earthly concerns. Welcome to your 7-day Gorgias Challenge. We've explored Plato's profound insights into rhetoric, justice, and the well-ordered soul, but the true power of these ideas isn't in passive listening, it's in active application. This challenge is designed to transform your understanding into daily practice, moving you from merely hearing these lessons to truly living them. Over the next week, we'll embark on a journey of self-examination and deliberate action, guided by the timeless wisdom of Gorgias. Let's begin. Days 1-2, the rhetoric audit. For the first 2 days, your mission is to become a discerning observer of persuasion. Think of yourself as a detective, equipped with Socrates' critical lens. Whether you're scrolling through your social media feed, watching a news report, encountering an advertisement, or even listening to a political speech, pause and ask yourself, is this communication primarily aimed at revealing the truth, or is its main objective simply to persuade me? Notice the techniques employed: appeals to emotion, grand pronouncements lacking evidence, flattering language, or the clever manipulation of perceived authority. Plato, through Socrates, consistently distinguished between arts aimed at genuine improvement, like medicine for the body or justice for the soul, and mere flattery, which provides pleasant sensations without true benefit. Your rhetoric audit is about training yourself to recognize this fundamental difference in the world around you. Discern whether the speaker seeks to genuinely inform and uplift, or merely to sway your opinion for their own ends, however well-intentioned they might appear. This conscious observation is the first step toward cultivating a truly rational and independent mind. Days 3-4, the self-discipline jar. Next, we tackle the concept of temperance or sophrosin, a virtue central to Plato's vision of a well-ordered soul. For these 2 days, identify one of your own leaky jars, an area where your self-control tends to falter, allowing your desires to run wild. Perhaps it's mindless scrolling on your phone, excessive snacking, impulse online shopping, or repeatedly hitting the snooze button. Once you've identified your leaky jar, practice temperance by setting a clear, measurable limit and, crucially, sticking to it. For instance, if it's social media, set a timer for 30 minutes a day and log off when it rings. If it's a specific type of food, allow yourself a measured portion at a specific time and no more. The goal here isn't deprivation for its own sake, but the cultivation of self-mastery. By consciously imposing and adhering to boundaries, you begin to assert your rational will over your immediate impulses, bringing order to an area that might otherwise lead to regret or diminished well-being. This deliberate act of self-restraint strengthens your inner governance, a vital component of a truly just and happy life. Days 5-6, the true art conversation. For the latter half of the week, shift your focus to your interactions with others. In one important conversation, perhaps with a family member, a friend, a colleague, or even a community leader, consciously guide the dialogue towards what is genuinely best, rather than simply what is pleasant, easy to say, or socially convenient. This can be challenging, as it often means moving beyond superficial agreements or comfortable silences. It requires a Socratic willingness to question assumptions, to probe deeper into motivations, and to genuinely seek clarity on what constitutes a good outcome or a just course of action. Maybe it's a discussion about a difficult decision, a disagreement, or a planning session. Instead of defaulting to compromise for the sake of peace or simply stating your opinion to win, try to articulate and explore what would truly serve the highest good for all involved, even if it feels uncomfortable or takes more effort. Embrace the spirit of inquiry and focus on the substantive pursuit of truth and genuine benefit. This practice helps us move beyond the rhetoric of mere agreement and into the true art of collaborative pursuit of wisdom. Day 7, the Naked Soul Reflection. Finally, on Day 7, dedicate a quiet, uninterrupted 15 minutes to what we'll call the Naked Soul Reflection. Find a peaceful space where you won't be disturbed. For this brief period, imagine that all external markers of your status, your job, your wealth, your relationships, your reputation, your achievements, your social standing have been completely stripped away. You stand before yourself, just your character, your deeds, and your intentions. In this state of profound vulnerability and honesty, ask yourself two critical questions. First, what is the current state of my character truly? Be brutally honest. Where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses? What habits define you when no one is watching? And second, what is one just action I can take today, purely for its own sake, regardless of reward or recognition? This isn't about grand gestures, but about a sincere, unadorned commitment to doing what is right, simply because it is right. This reflection is a direct echo of Plato's ultimate concern for the state of our souls, which, he argues, will one day be judged without the deceptive adornments of this world. Let this profound introspection guide you toward a small, deliberate act that aligns with the highest principles of justice and virtue, setting a powerful intention for the week and beyond. This 7-day Gorgias challenge is not about perfection, but about the diligent, conscious effort to align your life with the pursuit of truth, temperance, and justice. Embrace the discomfort, celebrate the small victories, and witness the transformative power of active philosophical practice. Your journey towards a well-ordered soul begins now. As we conclude our journey through the profound depths of Plato's Gorgias, It's vital to crystallize the essence of its wisdom into actionable, memorable principles. Think of these not just as philosophical concepts, but as a three-point Gorgias code, a compass to navigate the complexities of power, justice, and the good life. These aren't merely ancient ideas, they are timeless truths distilled by Socrates, offering a potent antidote to the often shallow pursuits of our modern world. Let's etch them into our understanding, allowing them to truly resonate and guide our own lives. First, and perhaps most fundamentally, remember this: true power isn't about persuading others, it's about mastering yourself. A just and ordered soul is the ultimate strength, an inner citadel impervious to external pressures and the fleeting whims of popular opinion. In a world constantly vying for your attention, your vote, your purchase, and your belief, the ability to control your own desires, temper your passions, and align your actions with your deepest values is the most formidable power you can cultivate. Gorgias believed rhetoric granted its practitioner dominion over others, a seductive illusion of control. But Socrates showed us that this external persuasion is a brittle, superficial form of power, often wielded by those who are slaves to their own unchecked appetites and ambitions. When your soul is in chaos, driven by fear, greed, or vanity, you are profoundly weak, no matter how many people you can sway with your words. A truly powerful individual possesses an inner coherence, a self-sufficiency that comes from reason governing emotion, from integrity dictating action. Their strength lies not in their ability to manipulate the crowd, but in their unshakable commitment to truth and virtue, their freedom from the need for external validation. This self-mastery grants genuine autonomy, a deep-seated resilience, and a clear-sightedness that allows one to see through flattery and demagoguery, making decisions based on what is genuinely good, not merely what is popular or expedient. It is the power to stand firm, to speak truth, and to live with purpose, regardless of the shifting sands of public opinion or personal adversity. It is the power of an ordered mind and a virtuous heart, an authentic and unassailable authority rooted deeply within your very being. Secondly, and this is perhaps the most challenging and counterintuitive lesson from the Gorgias, it is always better to suffer injustice than to commit it. This isn't a call for passivity, but a profound statement about the nature of harm. While the world might pity the one who suffers and envy the one who inflicts, Socrates reveals a deeper moral calculus. Harming others inflicts the most grievous, indeed the deepest harm upon your own character, upon the very fabric of your soul. Think of it this way: when you are a victim of injustice, your body might be hurt, your possessions might be lost, your reputation might be tarnished, but your essential moral core, your inner integrity, remains untouched, untainted. You remain whole. The injustice is something external done to you. However, when you commit an unjust act, you are not merely doing something to another, you are doing something to yourself. You are corrupting your own soul, eroding your moral compass, and inflicting a spiritual wound that is far more debilitating and lasting than any physical or material loss. This act of injustice diminishes your humanity, degrades your capacity for virtue, and poisons your inner peace. It warps your perception of reality, making you increasingly prone to self-deception and moral blindness. The person who commits injustice becomes less just, less virtuous, and ultimately less truly human. The tyrant, for all his apparent power, is the most miserable and wretched of individuals, for he lives with a soul riddled with injustice, a soul sick with the very disease he inflicts upon others. To suffer injustice, therefore, means your soul remains intact, capable of justice, capable of healing. To commit injustice means you willingly choose a path that wounds your own spirit, a path from which recovery is far more arduous, and the ultimate cost is your very self. And finally, for our third and ultimate point in the Gorgias Code, aim for a good life, not merely a pleasant one. Choose long-term well-being and unwavering integrity over fleeting pleasure and seductive flattery. Throughout the dialogue, Socrates consistently distinguishes between genuine arts that aim at the true good of the soul and mere flatteries that pander to immediate gratification without regard for actual benefit. Rhetoric, in Gorgias's hands, was likened to cookery. It provides immediate pleasure, but offers no true nourishment or health. True statesmanship, like medicine or gymnastics, might sometimes be bitter or arduous, but it aims at the lasting health and flourishing of the citizen and the state. In our own lives, this translates into a constant choice. Will you pursue the easy path, the immediate gratification, the superficial approval that fleeting pleasures and flattery offer? Or will you embrace the sometimes challenging, often demanding, but ultimately deeply rewarding path of integrity, virtue, and genuine self-improvement? A pleasant life driven by hedonism and the constant pursuit of external stimulation is an endless treadmill of unfulfilled desires. It leaves one vulnerable to manipulation, forever chasing the next high, the next compliment, the next indulgence. It is a life built on sand. A good life, however, built upon the bedrock of virtue, reason, and an unwavering commitment to what is right, is a life of true purpose and profound fulfillment. It requires discipline, self-awareness, and the courage to make difficult choices for the sake of higher values. It means sometimes saying no to immediate gratification for the sake of long-term well-being, sometimes enduring discomfort for the sake of growth, and always upholding your integrity even when it's inconvenient or unpopular. This path leads to a lasting inner peace, a deep sense of accomplishment, and a truly flourishing existence where your actions align with your highest ideals, allowing you to not just feel good but to be good. These 3 points, then, are the enduring legacy of Plato's Gorgias. They are not merely academic concepts to be discussed, but a radical call to self-reflection and transformation. True power through self-mastery, the profound wisdom of suffering injustice rather than inflicting it, and the unwavering pursuit of a good life over a merely pleasant one. Embrace this code, and let the timeless wisdom of Socrates illuminate your path toward a life of genuine strength, unassailable integrity, and authentic flourishing. And so, our journey through the intricate, often challenging, and always illuminating world of Plato's Gorgias comes to its thoughtful conclusion. We've navigated the turbulent waters of Athenian intellectual life, witnessing Socrates engage in a relentless pursuit of truth against formidable opponents like the famed rhetorician Gorgias, the fiery Polus, and the defiant, perhaps even dangerous, Callicles. This dialogue isn't merely an artifact of ancient philosophy, it is a vibrant, living text that compels us to confront fundamental questions about power, justice, morality, and the very purpose of human existence, questions that, remarkably, remain as urgent and complex in our hyper-connected modern world as they were in the bustling agora of ancient Athens. The essence of this book cuts through millennia, forcing us to scrutinize not just what we believe, but why we believe it, and the ultimate impact of those beliefs on our lives and the societies we build. Now, as we reflect on the profound insights and the stark contrasts presented in this incredible work, I invite you to join the conversation directly. Out of the intense philosophical struggle we've just witnessed, where each character champions a distinct vision of the good life and the just society, I pose this question to you: which argument, at the end of it all, proved most persuasive to your own reasoning and moral compass? Was it Socrates' unyielding conviction that virtue is knowledge, that it is always better to suffer injustice than to commit it, and that true happiness lies in the well-ordered soul, even if it means societal unpopularity and personal sacrifice? Or did Polis's more pragmatic, perhaps cynical, assertion that power and self-interest are the ultimate arbiters of human action, and that rhetoric is merely the most effective tool for achieving one's desires, regardless of their moral purity, resonate more with your observations of the world? Or, perhaps most provocatively, did Callicles' audacious declaration that conventional morality is a mere construct of the weak to shackle the strong, and that natural right dictates the powerful should assert their will without restraint, align with a deeper, more primal understanding of human nature or societal dynamics? This isn't just an academic exercise in intellectual comparison, it's a genuine invitation for introspection, a moment to truly engage with these timeless dilemmas. I deeply value your perspective, and I believe our collective exploration enriches everyone's understanding. Please share your thoughts, your agreements, and even your constructive disagreements in the comments section below. Let's foster a truly vibrant and intellectually stimulating community discussion around these pivotal ideas. Your insights are invaluable and contribute immeasurably to our shared learning journey. If you've found this deep dive into Gorgias enlightening, if the pursuit of ancient wisdom for understanding and, more importantly, solving modern problems resonates with you, then I sincerely encourage you to show your support. A simple click on the like button not only signals to me that you appreciate this kind of content, encouraging further production, but it also plays a crucial role in the YouTube algorithm. Your likes help this video reach a wider audience of curious minds, ensuring that these vital philosophical discussions aren't confined to a niche few, but instead can spark thought and contemplation in many more individuals. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel by hitting that subscribe button and perhaps even activating the notification bell. You ensure you won't miss any of our future explorations into the profound texts and ideas that have shaped human thought. Join our ever-growing community of dedicated thinkers and lifelong learners who believe that understanding the past is key to navigating the present and shaping a better future. Your support is the lifeblood of this channel, allowing us to continue bringing these ancient dialogues to life for contemporary challenges. But the journey of philosophical inquiry, as Socrates himself would attest, is never truly complete. It is an ongoing process of discovery and refinement. While Gorgias offers a powerful examination of rhetoric, justice, and the nature of political power, it also serves as an exceptional gateway to the broader, monumental landscape of Plato's philosophy. For your next step in exploring the enduring legacy of this magnificent philosopher, I wholeheartedly recommend immersing yourself in Plato's undisputed magnum opus, The Republic. While Gorgias critiques the corrupting influence of unchecked power and the deceptive allure of persuasive speech, The Republic goes further, constructing an elaborate blueprint for an ideal state, a Callipolis, where justice, education, and philosophical rule are meticulously designed to achieve the highest good. It delves into the very nature of reality with the allegory of the cave, explores different forms of government, and systematically addresses how individual virtue can translate into societal harmony. Reading The Republic after Gorgias offers a profound and interconnected understanding of Plato's vision, allowing you to see how his critiques of existing systems led him to envision entirely new paradigms. It's a foundational text that continues to inspire and challenge political, ethical, and metaphysical thought to this very day, providing an incredibly rich complement to the ideas and questions we've just wrestled with. To truly engage with the raw power and subtle nuances of Plato's original arguments, there's no substitute for reading the primary text itself. That's why, to facilitate your own direct encounter with this profound work, I've provided a convenient link in the description below where you can easily get your very own copy of Plato's Gorgias. Whether you prefer a classic translation or a more contemporary rendition, having the book in hand allows you to pore over Socrates' relentless questioning, Polis's increasingly frustrated responses, and Callicles' fiery, unapologetic defiance at your own pace. It enables you to highlight passages, make your own annotations, and truly grapple with the complexities of the dialogue firsthand. Reading it for yourself allows you to form independent interpretations, deepen your understanding beyond any commentary, and appreciate the intricate artistry of Plato's writing that even the most thorough analysis can only ever hope to illuminate. So, I encourage you, dive in, challenge your preconceptions, and let Plato's timeless words speak directly to your intellect and your soul. Thank you once again for accompanying me on this deep dive into one of philosophy's most impactful and enduring dialogues. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I genuinely look forward to continuing this intellectual adventure with you as we collectively strive to uncover wisdom for our ever-evolving world.